So in today's video, I'm going to explain why building a house might be a bad idea for most young Africans. Let's get started. Hi guys, welcome to another video. My name is Godfred. If you're new here, welcome to the channel. I have 8+ years experience both in industry and practice as an ACCA qualified accountant. If you haven't joined the family, make sure you subscribe to the channel. So today's video is about a conversation that's worth having, in the sense that if you're living in Africa, you realize that unlike the European countries where they have these mortgages and things that to finance that really makes your life a bit more easier if you want to acquire a building, it's not the same for Africans. So what tends to happen is that a lot of times people build themselves. You have to make sure you're part of the whole project from start to finish. And the problem is that society, especially the African society, has made it like a success symbol. So if you have a house, it means that you're successful. Oh yeah, this guy is doing well for himself and all that. They tend to measure success by what sort of assets that you have, which in a way puts pressure on the young African to always want to do things that might not even be aligned with your own personal goals. So for you, maybe you might have plans that you want to even do some further studies abroad and all that, or whatever it is. Because we are in a society that values or that sort of measures success by the symbol of a house or a car or what have you, we tend to drift towards those assets or those things rather than focusing on, okay, what's my career goal, what's all that. Another problem is that when we tend to start building, or the average African will always want to start with like a huge sum. Okay, I want to build like a 4-bedroom house, a 5-bedroom house, because that is what society views as successful. That he has like a huge house somewhere, and that's what really drives our decision to build. And what tends to happen is people don't even end up finishing their buildings before they leave this earth, because along the line they get married, they get children, and you have to also spend in all these situations. So the building stalls, things don't go as planned, and for some, their children will have to even grow up and come and help them complete the building. That has been a cyclical African problem, which I believe that we need to address. Whilst building a house is good, it might not be good for every young African out there, because let's think about it. If you pick the average African professional who works in Africa and has been paid locally, what happens is you have like a salary range of between $300 to $500 at best. And I know for sure that is not the case, because a lot of people get paid way below that amount. And out of that amount, you're supposed to pay your bills, pay your rent, eat from it, transportation, and in most cases where people's family also depend on them, so they have to remit back home, which is the situation in Africa for most people you see on the street, or the average graduate on the street. Now, if you are fortunate to come from a family that has a lot of money, well, good for you. That means this video, you probably also learn a few things that you want to share with some friends of yours, but that solves the problem. Once there's cash, there's no problem. But I realize I've seen people who end up in this cycle of debt, where they end up not being able to live as human beings, in quotes, in the sense that you're so cash strapped that you cannot even do anything for yourself. Like I said, I talked about all the amounts that you earn and all that, what have you. That's your situation. Now let's look at building a house in reality, like a basic house where you have maybe just 1 or 2 rooms with a living room, and then probably like your kitchen, toilet, and whatever. Now for that type of building, number one, you look at the location. So it means that even getting a land, you might get a land as expensive as you can think, running into tens of thousands of dollars if the location is quite close, or maybe let's say a prime area. From there, the cost involved in acquiring the land, and mind you, the cost of the land is not just the cost you incur. You do some documentation, the paperwork and everything comes at a cost. And the problem here is that even with the land acquisition, the amount involved is such that it would take average 2, 3, 4 years for a young person to be able to pay off that amount. So that's even the first problem. And the second problem is when you start to build out of your salary. So the issue here is now you have a meager income, which is barely helping you to survive, and then you want to also extend to the point that you want to build. So a lot of people try to, when I get my salary, I put in something small. So they buy the cement, they buy the blocks, they get workmanship, and they do all sort of payments. So they do this bit by bit until they realize that at some point in time, the whole project stalls, cannot continue again. If you analyze all these things, right, you realize that building a land is actually capital intensive, and it's not something that you should just wake up one day and feel like because you have a job, because now you earn an income or monthly income, you're going to build. There are problems that I want to talk to you about. So the major issues I've seen people encounter, especially young ones who decided, and even some old ones who decided they were going to build, was the fact that one, you get to a point where your money or your regular income cannot sustain that building project. And what it means is that you need to go for an extra income or an extra facility. And this time around, you need to fall on the banks, because probably your friends will not have the amount of money to dish it out to you for that project. So you go for a bank loan, then you start building or accumulating debt, in the sense of you're paying interest and you're paying off principal, all out of your income. If you want to building is not a bad idea. Building a house is not a bad idea. But first of all, make sure you even look at the size of the building, because there's a difference between your dream house and your first house, right? What you actually need as a young African person starting out life, especially if you are not from a rich background, is to first of all think about your first house rather than your dream house. When that is done, it really reduces the amount of money you need to commit to that first house, because it could be just a 1-bedroom house or 2-bedroom house, which is fairly more like affordable as compared to like 3, 4, 5 bedrooms, those wild dreams that we have. So that's the first thing that you need to do. And the second thing you can do to also escape this kind of problem is to try and see if you can upskill. So maybe you have some cash. What you want to do is to try and learn some skills that are kind of marketable, commercial skills that can generate you some sort of income, right? Because the point is, if you have multiple sources of income, you can really comfortably build without stress. So just learn a skill, upskill, try and then do something that will help you earn something extra. And then once you get that extra, you push that into your building project. So you can as well go about your life, vacation, and all the things that you want to do as you want to do. So the final thing that you can do to also help yourself, especially in regards to maybe acquiring the land, is to make sure that once you get litigation-free land, the land that has a proper documentation, you can acquire it and then probably fence it, do something to secure the land, because land appreciates in value. So that would be a good thing to do instead of hitting the ground to build right away. Let me know what you also think, what you've been doing to survive this stress, what you've been doing, or what you also think can help. Let's share in the comments below, and I'll be very, very happy to read all those comments. I hope you had some value from this video. If you did, make sure you smash that subscribe button, turn on the post notifications so anytime I post a video, you'll be the first to watch. And as usual, thank you for watching. See you in my next video.